Well, nothing worth filming every aspect of this thing for. Taking apart the 77648AO wrinkle finish ivory wrinkle finish. You know, pretty much standard dismantling here. So I'll film if anything unexpected happens. Well, this is the first time I've had one this difficult to come out. Oh, jeez. So, I don't know if that speaks to the worm gear being, or the bushing being in great condition. I have to squirt some stuff down there. Okay, well, it came out and I thought, wow, that is one thick stack of fiber washers. Usually there's one here. No, that's the end of the bushing broke off. Haven't had that before, so yeah. So I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to get that out. Dagnammit. Well, an observation, these two holes here are from where I guess the screws for the handle were removed when it was painted. That's all that could be. And note that the orientation of the wire is the way I put in that last AN, because this, when I noticed when I took this out, all this overspray was on the bottom half, but that is absolutely the handle screw holes. And so basically 9 o'clock position for where the wires exit the stator and are attached to the head wire, and then it exits the housing. So I was reaming out the shaft here, and you know, this, I don't know what's going on here. I've yet to there's no bronze, the remaining portion of that bronze bushing is not there. I don't know what's going on, but that little copper washer, I guess, was in there because it was on this thing, and unless it was on there before and I didn't notice it from something else, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. So I don't know if there's a little copper washer that goes in before that bronze bushing threads in. So the saga from the other night was when I busted when the bushing busted off. I ended up thinking it was going to be really hard to get the rest of the bronze bushing out of there, but it simply didn't exist. I don't know. I monkeyed around a little bit last night and I got this crusty thing out of there. I thought that was actually a helicoil, like somebody had done some kind of weird repair, but no, it's just fossilized grease, oil, whatever. But yeah, I got the threads cleaned out pretty good, but there was no bronze threads in there. I was expecting to have to try to get the bronze threads, the rest of the bushing out. So I have no idea where it went. You know, I don't know, depending how good I can get this shaft cleaned up. It's kind of got it's not in great shape. So I may end up having to scrub this and just, you know, take another one. I've got another AN over here, parts fan that, you know, I could use, but you know, it's goofy, but I really wanted to make this one 100% again. You know, there's something about taking a fan that's a basket case and you know, minimal parts if you have to switch the collar out or whatever, but you know, I really wanted to try to get this thing going again. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I put the rotor on there and it spun pretty nice with a little bit of oil, but I just don't know, you know. I don't want to get this thing all together and then spend the time to recreate the wrinkle finish and then the motors, you know, the bearings shot. So I don't know, maybe I'll throw the stator back in it, throw a head wire on it and just put it back together and then just try to run the bejesus out of it before I even do any finish, because I didn't do that because the head wire was cut. So I just, you know, pretty much tore right into it to take it apart. But maybe I need to run it, you know, with the blade on and just see if the bearing makes any sounds or whatever. So, and I worked tonight on mixing, getting my formula figured out, and it's basically chamois, fire red, and black. I mean, just a couple drops of these two in the chamois, and it's pretty much really on. It's also going to work for Jubilee that I got to paint at some point. You can really barely, the sheen is the one thing I'm worried about. You know, I don't think the wrinkle finish was glossy. I don't know, maybe, you know, I've not seen one really in person that's perfectly mint anyway. So, I mean, I know the ANs shine up pretty doggone good. And, you know, the wrinkle is going to knock down the sheen a little bit. But you can see on there, you can sort of see it catching the light. I think I can turn the flash on. No. Couple spots on there that I did. And spot on the edge. It's actually a little bit better in person. On the camera you can see it actually a little bit more than you can in person. Also got a spot on here, a couple spots on this. You can see it catching the light. It's a little, because it's shinier, yeah, right there. But yeah, colors really on, a little bit punchy, maybe a little bit more saturated, but that's probably good because, you know, I think this color would have maybe been a tiny bit richer when it was fresh. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm probably gonna have to buy another bigger can of this. I think and because this was about half full and it had some chunky monkeys in there. Even if thinned out, you know, about 1-to-1, maybe not quite 1-to-1. You know, it might be enough to do this fan, but I'd rather have more because I got to do the Jubilee and stuff. So. And then there's a lot of wasted paint when you paint the cage. So probably going to buy more of that and make another batch. But yeah, this was a pretty good batch, pretty good test batch that I had played around with once before. So kind of knew what would get me there. So also I did this little spot right here on this really nice section of the original color under this overpaint that somebody put on here. I think it's going to, when it dries, it's going to be a lot closer than that. It's pretty light right now, but this stuff darkens pretty good, just like acrylic paint. So I think it's going to be closer. So we will see.